Okay, so thank you all so much for joining myself and the amazing Harper team. Tonight I have supporting me Miss Silva, who is our building substitute, Miss Hanlon, who is our Say Yes family support specialist, Miss Tuggle, who is our PCIA coordinator, which means she runs the amazing Zenden. And she also works very closely with Kindergarten A. She's a part of that phenomenal team. And then also Miss Yannick, who works with Mr. Vareshpi with our 3 to 5 ED scholars. My name is Dr. Monell. I am the very, very proud principal of William Rainey Harper Elementary School here in Cleveland. As you all know, the announcement was made a week ago exactly that we will be returning to hybrid. And I know that probably left a lot of questions in your mind about what does that mean? What does that look like? And how does that affect my child or my children? So we'll be having a few of these town halls for me to address as many questions and concerns as I can. What I ask so that we can make sure this stays in an orderly fashion, if you can either keep your camera off, if that's going to be more comfortable for you because we are recording the meeting, but if you can also send your questions in the chat. If you have any questions as I go through my presentation, you can send your questions in the chat and the Harper staff members will be manning the chat and bringing anything to my attention. I will share all of the information that I have. I want to be very honest in saying I do not have all of the answers yet. I wish I did, but I don't. But I want to share as much as I have, so hopefully it can ease some of the anxiety or answer some of the questions that you do have. So I'm going to go ahead and start. We have a PowerPoint presentation prepared for you all. So I will start sharing my screen. And as you can see right here, again, my name is Dr. Monell. I'm the principal here. And this has been a very tumultuous year. On March 13th, our babies were ripped away from us and school was closed. And we have not been back since then. We've been in emergency learning in the spring. We've been in hybrid learning in the fall. And now we're getting ready to do hybrid learning starting next month. So we'll be going through what that means and what that looks like. Again, please mute your devices and we are recording this session. If you have any questions, again, please place that in the chat or also write down this email address, wrhquestions@gmail.com. If we are unable to get to all of the questions tonight, you can always email us there. The front office team, we check that email address quite frequently and we will respond to you on an individual basis. I will be speaking from a holistic point of view today about what's going to happen to schools altogether. If you have individual questions, it would be best to probably contact our school or send an email to wrhquestions@gmail.com. But we will be providing an FAQ, a frequently asked questions document at the end of the session, and we'll be posting it on our website. So here are some of the things that I will be addressing in this meeting. The anticipated start dates for phases 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to be different because all of our scholars are not coming back at the same time. So it's very important for you to know when your scholars are scheduled to return to the building. Uniform and dress code expectations, the different hybrid learning options. I want to make sure our families are aware of what each hybrid learning option means. So we'll be going into details. Safety protocols, because things are going to be very different. Even though there's excitement about returning to school, we have to be aware that we are not returning to what school was prior to March 13th. There's going to be a lot of differences, and I want to explain those. What to expect with breakfast, lunch, and encore classes, and our new arrival and dismissal procedures. So first, I want to talk to you all about our anticipated start dates. So there are 3 phases for scholars to return. Our phase 1 is for our self-contained classrooms, and the anticipated start date is Monday, March 8th. I want to make sure I stress that we are not returning on March 1st. I know the original return date for our self-contained classrooms was March 1st. CEO Eric Gordon delayed it for a week so we had more time to prepare. So no scholars need to be returning to the building next week. Next week will be another week for the staff and the building to prepare. So anticipated start date is Monday, March 8th. And the reason I say anticipated is that things are still changing. This could change. I will be having a part 2 to this town hall next week. I will also continue to use IVRs, emails, text messages, phone calls, and social media to keep families updated. So if anything changes, we will make sure to update you. But as of right now, the anticipated start date is Monday, March 8th for our self-contained classroom, and that is our MD Autism classroom and our ED classrooms. Phase 2 will be our pre-K through second grade scholars. Their anticipated start date is Monday, March 15th. So we have another 2 weeks to wait before our pre-K through second grade scholars return. And then phase 3 and the final phase will be our third through fifth grade scholars. And their anticipated start date is Monday, March 22nd. Please write these dates down and keep them in your notebooks or on your calendars. But also remember, if that changes, we will be updating you. Uniforms and dress code expectations. So CEO Eric Gordon, for the remainder of the semester, he is not requiring uniforms. So uniforms are not required during this hybrid learning time. However, at Harper, we are strongly encouraging our families to send their scholars in uniforms. We are returning to school. We want to make sure we are in a school environment, we are in a learning environment, and we are strongly encouraging that we send our scholars in their uniforms. For any new families that we have on the call or any returning families who may need a reminder, our uniform dress code colors are navy blue or royal blue collared shirts. And for the pants or skirts, khaki, black, blue, or gray. Those are our dress code. That's our dress code at Harper. If you are a returning family, you should have all received your Harper logo polo that we typically wear on Monday. Because of hybrid, we're not going to be making that a big deal. If scholars come to school on Monday with their Harper polo, great. If they don't, it's not a big deal. But if you want to wear your Harper polo, we would love that. Our expectation is that our Monday, Tuesday scholars wear their Harper polo on Monday, and our Thursday, Friday scholars wear their Harper polo on Thursday. If there are any new families on the call, we provide the first Harper logo polo for free. So if you have not received one yet, all you need to do is call the school, let us know your child's name, their grade, and their size, and we provide you the first polo free. If you end up sending your child to school not in our dress code uniform, we are asking for collared shirts. If they wear a t-shirt, they need to have sleeves, appropriate shorts and skirts that are the appropriate length, no pajamas, no hoodies, no open toe shoes. Those will not be allowed. I know that things have been a little different because our scholars have been learning at home. When they return to school, they are not to come to school in pajamas. They're not coming in onesies. They're not coming in hoodies. They're not wearing flip-flops or sandals, no open toe shoes, because those are dangerous. So again, we encourage our scholars to please, please, please come in uniform. We want them in the school mindset. Now, here are the hybrid learning options. I'm going to go over the first option. It's hybrid learning. Most of you have probably heard about this one as well. So for this is families who are choosing to send their scholars 2 days out of the week. So I'm going to break it down. You should have received a letter in the mail from the district. That was mailed out from the district. What they did is they assigned scholars either Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday, based on their last name. Unfortunately, we had no say in the assigning of scholars. All we did is we receive a list of what days scholars are supposed to be coming to school. If you did not receive that letter in the mail and you do not know what day your child is supposed to come to school, please contact the school, or you can send an email to wrhquestions@gmail.com. So the district assigns scholars either Group A or Group B. Group A, you attend school on Mondays and Tuesdays in the building. And you will then be engaged in remote learning from home on Thursday, Fridays. What that means, Monday and Tuesday, you're in the building learning in the classroom. Thursday and Friday, you are at home learning on the computer like you're doing right now. Group B will be in the building Thursday and Fridays, and they will engage in remote learning from home on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesdays will remain an asynchronous day for scholars. As you know, at Harper, we do our study halls on Wednesdays. We do our Panther Pride time on Wednesdays. We do our virtual reading buddies on Wednesdays. We do our wonderful Wednesdays where there's either a club, house team days, story time with Dr. Monell. That's all going to stay the same on Wednesdays. So I just want to reiterate that you are either going to be coming into the building on Monday or Tuesday, and then the other 2 days are Thursday and Friday. Please, it is very important that your scholar only attends on the days that they are assigned. I want to make it very clear. Based on numbers and how many scholars can fit into a classroom based on social distancing and the CDC guidelines, we do not have enough space in our classrooms to welcome all of our scholars. If you are scheduled for a Thursday, Friday class, and you drop your scholar off on Monday and Tuesday, they will not be going to class. They will be placed in a room. We will have to contact you to come back and pick up your child. If you are not receptive or you're not answering the call, we will then have to call downtown and let them know we have a scholar in the building that should not be here. And then downtown decides if they send someone to pick up the child, who they contact, or where we go from there. So I am pleading with families, please make sure you are only dropping your scholar off on the days that they are scheduled, because we do not have room to fit scholars who are not on that day. Option 2 is remote only. This is an option for families who choose to continue with how school has been going, where all 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, are synchronous learning time online. This Wednesday will be the same thing with Wonderful Wednesday, virtual reading, PPT, but you are choosing to keep your child remote and they will be learning the 4 days. I want to be very transparent and honest with our families. If you select option 2 and you choose remote only, there is a very good chance your child will not have a Harper teacher. At this time, my job as a principal is to schedule scholars who are returning to the building and ensuring that they have a schedule with their teacher. I also forgot to mention one thing. I'm going to go back for 1 second because, again, I want to be very honest and transparent. If you select option 1 hybrid learning model, I, as the principal and our leadership team, we're going to do our absolute best to schedule scholars with their current teachers. I cannot guarantee that. I cannot guarantee that. Your scholar may be scheduled to come to school on Monday and Tuesday, and their teacher may not be available to teach them on Monday and Tuesday. It will definitely be a Harper teacher, but it may not be their current teacher. But know that I will do my best to schedule scholars with their teachers, but I cannot guarantee that. And I want to be honest. So if you choose remote only, you will be at home for the 4 synchronous days, and it will not be a Harper teacher. It'll be a teacher from another CMSD teacher from another school who's going to be doing the remote learning. So please be aware that you will not have a Harper teacher, but you will still be considered a Harper scholar. You will not lose your place at our school. You will still be one of our scholars. Here is where, if you choose the CMSD Virtual Academy, this is for families who believe that their kids can handle the independence of a structured online schedule. If you choose the CMSD Virtual Academy, I want you to think of it as a completely different school. I have no control over the CMSD Virtual Academy. I have nothing to do with the scheduling. I have nothing to do with the staffing. If you select CMSD Virtual Academy, you will not have a Harper teacher. That is definite. You will not have a Harper teacher, and you will lose your spot at Harper. So if you are currently a 3rd grader and you choose to attend the CMSD Virtual Academy, If you would want to return in the fall when we're back to school in a normal setting, which I hope we will be, you will have to go through the school choice portal and you may be placed on the waiting list. So I want to make sure families are aware the CMSD Virtual Academy option, you will not be taught by a CMSD, I'm sorry, a Harper teacher, and you will lose your spot at Harper. So I hope everyone understands the distinction between hybrid learning, remote learning, and the virtual academy. Computer is not letting me go to there we go. So safety protocols. So scholars will maintain 6 feet social distancing throughout the day. I want everyone to understand things are going to be very, very different. From transportation pickup to how they get off of the bus. They're going to be getting off of the bus one at a time. They're going to be cones outside that are set up 6 feet apart, and scholars are to stand by a cone. They're not going to be running around with their friends. They're not going to be saying hey to their old buddies. They're going to be standing by a cone because we will be making sure we respect and honor the CDC guidelines of 6 feet social distancing. Mask will be required for all scholars all day. We want to make sure we are very safe. Please send your scholars to school with mask. If they lose it or it falls off, we have extras in the building. We are asking that these masks are school appropriate. So please keep in mind that we don't want any negative messaging or any inappropriate words or images on masks. If they come to school with a mask that we deem, and by we, I mean I, deem inappropriate, I will be contacting families, letting you know that this mask is being swapped out. We're going to give them one of our masks. We will give them their mask to take home, but they will not be able to wear it in the building. So please send them to school with school appropriate masks. Hallway transitions will be very limited. I want you to be aware. Scholars are not going to be walking to and from encores. They're not going to be walking to and from classes. They will be in class, in their desk, which will be 6 feet apart from any other desk pretty much the entire day. We do not want a lot of transitioning because we do not want any extra possibility of exposure. So I want families to be aware of that. And then arrival and dismissal procedures will be different and it will be organized. If there's one thing I love, it's organization. So again, I mentioned having all of the cones lined up 6 feet apart. Scholars will stand by a cone and they will come in one at a time. Officer Perkins will check their bags. They have to have their temperature checked. And once they are cleared, they will then walk into the building. If when they get their temperature checked, it goes off and they say that the temperature is too high or they're exhibiting symptoms possibly of COVID-19, they will be taken to what we call the COVID Clear Clinic. We will be contacting a parent, family member, or guardian, and we will be asking you to come and pick up your child. They will not be going to class. Even if you don't think it's COVID, if that machine goes off, we have to be careful. So they will not be going to class and we'll be asking you to come and pick up your child. I will be very honest, I do not know what the procedures are. The district has not decided on what happens if a child is exhibiting symptoms, if they can come back the next day. I don't know. But I know as of right now, if they do, if that machine goes off, we will be asking you to come and get them. Dismissal will be very different. Scholars will not be sitting in the cafe like they used to. We will not be letting them out at multiples at a time. They will stay in their rooms. I will call the bus number over the PA system, and they are to walk down the hall one at a time, 6 feet apart. An adult will be there to guide them. They walk on their bus. If you are a car rider, you will be doing the same thing with the pickup line. You will pull up. A teacher will ask you who you are here to get. We will call their name. They will be sitting in the arena. For those who don't know, the arena is our gymnasium, 6 feet apart. We call their name one at a time. They will walk out and they will walk to your car. So that is going to be our arrival and dismissal procedures. What to expect: breakfast, lunch, and encore. So breakfast and lunch is going to be very different. Scholars will be eating breakfast and lunch in their classrooms. I know one thing that a lot of the scholars loved at Harper is our breakfast morning dance parties and our Harper dance parties or our Harper movie days. Unfortunately, at this time, those are all going to have to stop because our scholars will not be eating breakfast and lunch in the cafe like they normally do. They will come in, they will have to sit and wait in the arena for the teachers to pick them up. And after the teachers pick them up, they will walk 6 feet apart to class, grab their breakfast, and they will eat their breakfast in the classroom. As of right now, for lunch, there has not been a clear decision on whether lunch will be delivered or scholars will walk down and pick it up. I will say, from my standpoint, my goal is to have lunch delivered because I do not want scholars leaving classrooms. So, more than likely, lunches will be delivered. Scholars will have their lunch delivered to them and they eat lunch in the classroom with their teacher. We will be following all safety protocols for recess. So again, it's not going to be the same. We're not going to let kids out on the playground and let them just run around. That's not possible. We are very lucky that we have a lot of extra land around our school. So we will be creating a recess schedule where scholars are going to have to stay in a specific area that is 6 feet from their friend. We're going to make a way to mark those spaces off so they know what they have to stay in to maintain the distance. If a scholar chooses to not stay in their designated area, recess will be taken away and they will have to have recess indoors where we may give them something, a puzzle or a game piece or something to play with them by themselves. Because remember, they can't share games. So I can't say they're going to be sitting with their friend and playing games together. We'll have to give them an individual game. We understand that we have a lot of young scholars and they'll need a lot of talking to so that they can understand what that means. And we will take time to do that. Also, I want you to be aware that scholars will not be traveling to encore classes. Encore teachers will be traveling to the classroom. So if you have PE, you will not be going to the arena. Mr. Johnson will be coming to your classroom and you will be having PE in the classroom. Mr. Chase will be having music in the teacher's classroom. So encores, they will be coming to the classroom. Arrival and dismissal procedures. So our school hours have not changed. It is still 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. We are asking that parents drop their scholars off as close to 8 a.m. as possible. I know we have no control over the buses. However, our start day for teachers is at 8 a.m. So if you get them there a lot earlier, it's going to be very difficult because there's not going to be no one there to watch them. And when I say no one there to watch them, they won't be able to go to their class. They're gonna have to sit in the arena. And kids are gonna get antsy. So we're asking families to please drop your kids off as close to 8 a.m. as possible. Scholars will line up with a social distance manner outside of the front doors. They'll have their temperature checked when they walk in the building. Scholars will walk to the arena. Teachers will pick them up. Bus riders will be dismissed from their classroom and car riders will be dismissed through the cafe doors. That is pretty much all of the information that I have at this time. Again, I know I said that I don't have all of the answers, but I wanted to share as much information as I could. So hopefully ease some of the questions and concerns that you may have. There's a lot happening and there's a lot happening kind of fast. But the Harper team, we are dedicated to making this as smooth a transition as possible. Like I said, there will be a part 2 to this town hall. As I get more information, I will be sharing that out with families and doing another one of these next week to keep you all updated before our official return to school. Thank you again for your time, for sticking with us on this journey. I do appreciate all of the support. And again, you could have taken your child to any school at any time, but you chose to continue being a Harper Panther. And I want you all to know, and I will get to the questions, but I want you all to know these faces back here, these smiles, this happiness, this joy, we will be back to this one day. I know it's been really rough since March 13th. We will be back to this one day. Our scholars will be able to hang out, spend time together, and play like kids deserve to be able to play. Until then, we're going to be very safe. My job as a principal and our job as Team Harper is to make sure when you drop your child off, they are safe and you can go to work or go take care of whatever you need to take care of, and know that your scholar is in good hands. And we will do absolutely everything that we can to make sure that happens. So thank you again. And now I'm going to see from anyone on the Harper team, do we have any questions in the chat that I can expound on or anything that I need to address?
Dr. Monell, our first question is, what time should they be there if they eat breakfast at home?
If they eat breakfast at home and you're dropping them off, 8 o'clock would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yannick. If they're eating breakfast at home, if you can drop them off at 8 o'clock, that would be perfect.
Dr. Monell, there's a question. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's a question about Disney practice and if that's going to remain virtual. So I'm not sure if our Disney team has made any decisions on when Thursday practices will be or if they will be moved.
Disney practice will continue to be virtual. We're going to figure all of that out, even if it's right now, it's in the middle of the day on Wednesdays, and that's going to be virtual. Even though we're back in the building, technically, we are not planning to change from our Disney production being a virtual production. So because of social distancing, we cannot practice in the arena. We can't have the scholars on the same stage together. So it still will be a virtual play. So we're going to have the scholars practice virtually.
Dr. Monell, I think they're concerned. They say the practice is Thursday at 2:40. If they're a Thursday student, they won't get home in time.
So that's what the time is based on, like our remote learning. So the Disney team will be adjusting that. So once we get back into the building and we adhere to our school hours, which are 8 to 2:30, we will be adjusting Disney practice.
And Dr. Monell, there's another question, and it is, do you know what the online curriculum will be for the remote option? Will it be what they are currently utilizing in the second grade class?
So, well, I cannot say what the online curriculum will be for CMSD Virtual Academy. Like, again, I want you to think of that as a completely different school. So if you choose CMSD Virtual Academy, you are withdrawing your child out of Harper and you're putting them in a different school. So I don't know what that curriculum is going to be. For the remote option, that is up to the district. As of right now, principals have been told that our focus is to be on group A and group B. We have no control over group C. Group C are those scholars who choose remote, and you will not be taught by a Harper teacher, more than likely. So right now we use ReadyGen for ELA, and we use Into Math for math. We use Social Studies Weekly for social studies, and we use Science Fusion for science. I cannot say what that teacher is going to be using because it could be a teacher from any school, and I don't know what curriculum they've been trained to use. So unfortunately, it will not be our curriculum, and more than likely, it will not be an IB curriculum because you have to be trained to teach IB.
Mr. Morale, I have a question. My scholar is in Group A Monday.
Can you do me a favor? Can you type that question in the chat? I want to make sure we keep it to where we're typing in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Dr. Monell, there was a second part to that last question. Do we know when we will have confirmation on who the students will have as their instructors for option 1?
So
the hybrid model.
For option 1, as of right now, the district is sending that out to principals. So I'm going to be doing some work this weekend. My hope is that, well, you will definitely have it before your scholars to return. But my hope is to have that to you all at the latest by the middle of next week. This weekend, I plan to put a lot of brain power and a lot of work into figuring this all out and planning the schedule, because obviously the schedule is going to be very different and it's going to be difficult with all the maneuvering of classes. So my goal is to hopefully by Wednesday be able to share with teachers who their rosters are, and they will reach out to those families.
And Dr. Monell, can you clarify that the William Rainey Harper teachers who are in the classroom with students, who will be teaching those students on their at-home days? Because there's a question about teaching online and in person simultaneously.
So there will be no online and in-person teaching happening at the same time. So this is an example of what could happen. If Miss Silva teaches you in person on Monday and Tuesday, she could also be your online teacher on Thursday and Friday. So I hope that makes sense. So if you're in group A, you will be taught in person by Miss Silva on Monday, Tuesday, and then Miss Silva will be your online teacher on Thursday, Friday. That is my goal. And I'm hoping when I do the schedule, that is what works out. So I'm going to pick a grade level just to pick a grade level. Second grade, if you have Miss Matthews Monday, Tuesday in person, Miss Matthews should be your online teacher Thursday, Friday.
Dr. Monell, the next question is about transportation and how, if we know how the kids are going to be seated on the buses and how many kids total will be on the buses for those that are getting transportation.
So for transportation, I unfortunately don't know the number right off the top of my head. I know buses can fit 50, but those days are gone for now. So I am going to be very honest. I don't know how this is all going to work because there's so many kids that need to be on the bus to come to school. I think, don't quote me on this, I think the number is now there'll be 14 at the most on a bus. If you have not gotten an email or a letter from transportation about your route, please contact them and ensure that they have your current address, because all of this has already been processed through CMSD. So you should have already been contacted about that. We don't control that. I can't send to transportation and say Miss Silva needs to be picked up on Monday, Tuesday, Miss Hanlon needs to be picked up on Thursday, Friday. That has to come from their guardian. So if you have not got any information on that, please contact transportation. But I think the number is 14.
And Dr. Monell, what time do you want them to arrive if they are getting a school breakfast?
Still 8 o'clock, because breakfast is not going to happen before 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So they'll be able to grab their breakfast at 8 o'clock and they'll be eating it in the classroom.
So it's the same arrival time, breakfast or no breakfast?
Yes.
Okay. There is another question about drop off. With the 6 feet social distancing, will that add in a significant amount of time for the children to get into the building?
Yes, that will. As you all know, Officer Perkins is one of the most efficient and hardworking officers, and we love him. And we were able to get our scholars in fairly quickly last year, but he has to check temperatures, check bags, and have the kids go through the metal detector with them being 6 feet apart. We will go as quickly as we can, but we want to be safe. So we're going to do the same thing as last year. We're going to ask scholars to already have their book bags open. Obviously, if it's a really cold day, they have to keep their jackets on. But if it's fairly warm, take their jackets off to save time. But it will take some time. So I know a lot of families are like, well, if you want us to come at 8, what does that mean for them getting into the room? As of right now, I am anticipating that first period is going to be a lot of breakfast time, getting to class time, putting your things away time, and maybe the first 20 to 30 minutes, that's going to all be what needs to happen before instruction starts. So I don't want you to feel like your child is going to be outside in the line missing instruction if they're not in the building by 8:05, because it's going to be a lot of just eating their breakfast, getting to class, and then instruction will start later. Again, that is something I'm going to be working on this weekend, but I'm keeping in mind that we'll need time for the kids to eat their breakfast.
Dr. Monell, do we know how many kids are going to be in a classroom at a time?
So as of right now, we do not. The district has split the kids up. I wish it was a little more evenly. So what it could be is depending on the last name of the child, a teacher could possibly have, let's say you have 25 kids in your class. Let's make it even 24. Based on last names, they could have assigned 15 kids on Monday, Tuesday, and then the remainder on Thursday, Friday. And I'm saying the remainder because I don't feel like doing math in my head right now. So whatever the remainder of 24, thank you, Miss Silva. So the 9 kids will be assigned on Thursday, Friday. Again, this was all done by the district. We had no say in what days scholars were assigned. If there is a huge problem with the day that you were assigned, you can contact the Office of Enrollment and you can let them know that another day would be better. And it's up to them to decide if they're going to approve it or not. We can't do that. So if you call Miss Curry and say Monday and Tuesday does not work, can you swap my child to Thursday and Friday? She's going to tell you to call the district. They have to approve that. So if there's anything that's going to be a huge issue, you have to contact the district office and they will approve if we can switch a child or not. So I
Dr.
can't tell you the set number of who's going to be in class, but we will make sure that it fits the CDC guidelines. So each classroom has a set number that is allowed in the classroom, and we will not go over that number.
Can you address what's going on with preschool? Because that's slightly different.
Preschool is its own, I feel like preschool is its own world. So for the preschool question, I will share as much as I know. If you have a specific question, I don't answer that, then if you can put it in the chat, that would be great. As far as I know, preschool will be all day. And as far as I know, preschool still follows the CDC guidelines, 6 feet apart. We want our kids, our preschool scholars to wear masks. We want them to come to school, dressed appropriately or in uniform. And then I'm trying to think of anything else.
Will preschool be 4 days, Dr. Monell, do we know? Or will they still be doing 2 days?
Preschool, as of right now, will be 4 days. So preschool will be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That is the only grade level that will be 4 days. Preschool and our self-contained classrooms are the only ones that are 4 days. I'm going to go ahead and say this because I've had a couple of families call. I do not have the autonomy or I do not have the authority to assign your child 4 days. So if you think, I know a lot of families feel like in-person learning is the better choice for their child. But if they're in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, I cannot change their schedule and assign them 4 days. Kindergarten through fifth will be the 2 days per week. Pre-K and self-contained classrooms will be 4 days a week.
Dr. Monell, if they have more than one scholar, different grades, will that be a problem at pickup?
That should not be a problem. From my understanding, the district looked at siblings. So I'm hoping if you have scholars, if you have siblings on different grade levels, you should still be assigned the same day. If that is not the case, please contact the district and let them know because they did look at siblings to make sure that was not an issue. But if you have scholars in different grades, it will not be an issue. You will come through the car line and you see the name of your kids, they will all be waiting and we will call them both or how many ever it is, and they'll all walk out together.
And we have a question about which group your child is in. Is there how many more days do you think they should wait for that mailer before they call?
I would honestly say if you have not received it yet, to call on Monday because you should have already received it. And the sooner you know, the better you can plan. So if you have not received that letter yet, go ahead and start calling on Monday.
And we have one, Aiden would like to know if he can still get a cold lunch.
Aiden, I think that there will be both options. I know you all are used to a hot lunch option and a cold lunch option. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think there possibly will still be a cold lunch option.
And I think that might have been our last question.
Yes, we are all, I believe we answered every question in the chat.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, do me a favor. If you all can make sure you're sending the questions to the group, because I'm just seeing that I got a question sent to me privately. So do they have to bring their laptops? Yes. Please have the scholars travel with their device. It is my understanding, and I keep saying it's my understanding because I want to make sure that you all know I am telling you what I know. But it's my understanding that scholars are supposed to get something to place their device in since they will be transporting it back and forth from school. When those will be delivered to schools, I don't know, but we are asking scholars to travel with their devices. I will see if there's any, no, I was gonna say any way they can leave the device in the school, but that would not be good. They need to do their work online. So yeah, scholars will be traveling with their devices. The pickups for students is 2 p.m., correct? Pickup for scholars, it's 2 p.m. We have a staggered dismissal for any of our new families. Pre-K, they start dismissal around between 1:45 and 2 p.m. Kindergarten, they start dismissal between 2 and 2:15. And then our older scholars, first through fifth, we start doing dismissal between 2:15 and 2:30. So we have a staggered dismissal, so it's going to be organized and we don't have a lot of kids leaving at the same time. Do they walk to the arena for preschool? Preschool is a little different. I'm going to be talking to the preschool staff because I'm going to be very honest. If you are a preschooler and you're walking into a new building, that could be a little scary. So we're going to see what we can do with our babies and seeing about finding a place that maybe is not as big, so they're not as nervous. So I am keeping that in mind for our little scholars who are new to the building, because being in the arena with some older kids could be a little scary for them. So I'm working on a plan for our preschool scholars.
There were a couple of questions about transportation in the chat, so I did provide the number for the transportation office if you have additional questions that were answered in the mailing that you've received.
Thank you. And then there's a question, can my kids walk in together or do they each have to stand at a cone? I'm gonna ask that each child stands at a separate cone, because I may know that they're both siblings, but if there's another staff member outside helping and they're not aware, I don't want the kids to think that they're in trouble. So I'm gonna ask the kids to go ahead and stand separately. And also, kids are kids. If I see you standing next to your sister, I may not know that's your sister, then I'm gonna wanna go stand next to my friend. So we'll be asking all of our scholars to stand in an individual cone.
And are there still computers available for those who didn't get one in the fall?
If you did not get one in the fall, yes, please contact the school and let us know. We want to make sure we have enough for scholars. If you are having any issues with your technology at the moment, please contact IT. We want to make sure those get fixed as soon as possible. Obviously, there's an entire district of devices that they're fixing. So the sooner you get that ticket in, the sooner you possibly will get that fixed. So by the start date, all of the kinks will be set aside.
And will we be allowing personal devices to use the school Wi-Fi for learning?
What personal devices? If they bring their own
If a
laptop.
family doesn't have a computer from the school, so if they did not get a computer from the school, but they have their own, are they able to bring that into the building and will it be connected to the school's Wi-Fi?
We will be providing devices. We are asking families to just use the CMSD provided device because one, those devices already have the apps on it that the scholars will need. And two, there'll be school protected blockers on those devices. So we're asking, please do not send your child to school with the device, because also we are not liable if it breaks, if it cracks, if somebody trips on it or something. So please just have them use the devices that we will be providing. And again, we'll make sure every scholar gets one. I don't want you to have to worry about that. If I need to request more, I will definitely do that.
And we have one more question on pickup. If you have a small child in kindergarten and one is older, with that staggered pickup, do they have to go through the line twice?
For our car line, yes. Our car line pretty much moves smoothly, but if you pick up a pre-K scholar at 1:45, we are asking, I know it's not always perfect. We are working to be the best that we can. We're asking that you do go around if you have like a fifth grader as your second child, so that our kindergarten families can be pushed up in the car line. One thing we did last year for our returning families who may already know this, our buses, once they leave, I've spoken to them and we can possibly use that little curb area for families who come early, but they typically don't leave until around 2:30. So you can't wait in there until all the buses are gone. So last year, for any of our new families, they would come in and you can park on the street and then you can jump back in the car line if you want to. Or there are a lot of empty parking spots on the side of the building because we're not a full staff yet. And you can go park in one of the parking spots and then get back into the car line.
There are a couple of questions about whether or not students need to bring the hotspots that they were given to the school.
They're not required. What I would say is if you have one, please send it with them. Put it in the laptop bag the district provides, or put it in their book bag, because I don't know how the building Wi-Fi is going to respond to all of those kids being on the internet at one time. So I don't know if there's going to be any, it's going to be super slow or if it's going to crash. So it would be best if you have a hotspot to bring it as a backup. And I will be requesting some extras as well, because again, we've never had a day where over 100 scholars are all in a computer at one time, possibly. So I don't know how that's going to, how our Wi-Fi is going to handle that.
Okay. I entered the technology support number in the chat as well. But again, if your scholar still needs a device, then you can contact the school directly. There's only one more question that I'm seeing, again, in regards to the dress code that we went over earlier. Can you just reiterate that once more, Dr. Monell?
Yes. For dress code, CEO Eric Gordon has made it known that dress codes is not required. Uniforms are not required. At Harper, because we do things differently, we are strongly encouraging our families to send their scholars in dress code. That is a royal blue, like the shirts behind me, royal blue or navy blue collared shirt, and they can wear khaki pants, black pants, pants or skirts, khaki, navy, black, or gray. The reason we are strongly encouraging uniforms, they are back in school. And part of being in school is dressing the part. And we would love for our scholars to be dressed like scholars. If you do choose to send your son or daughter or niece or nephew to school and they're not in uniform, they need to be in a school appropriate shirt with sleeves, shorts and skirts that are appropriate length, and they cannot wear hoodies. They cannot wear open-toed shoes, and they cannot, I forgot what was the other cannot, but we pajamas, yes. No pajamas. I know since they've been at home, a lot of them, you know, they show up to class in their onesies or their dinosaur pajamas. And as adorable as it is, we do not want our scholars in school in pajamas. So I'm going to be very honest about what my plan is. If a scholar shows up and they're in what we, by we, I mean I, deem inappropriate school attire, I will contact the family and ask if you can bring them something else to wear, because we're not sending them to class in pajamas. That is not school appropriate. So please, 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 we don't want our scholars to miss any more class time because they're in pajamas or they're in a onesie or they're in open-toed shoes. That is not safe. So please, please make sure you send them to school appropriate clothes. And just to reiterate, if you have a Harper logo polo, which are the ones in this picture right here, aren't they adorable? If you have those, we're asking that our Monday, Tuesday scholars wear it on Monday, like normal, and that our Thursday, Friday scholars wear it on Thursday. In a perfect world, this is what I would love to see. Last year, you know, on Mondays, our scholars wore their Harper polos, and on Friday, they wore their Harper t-shirts. In a perfect world, it would be wonderful if on Monday they wore these polos, Tuesday, a Harper t-shirt. Thursdays, they're Harper polos, Friday, a Harper t-shirt. Any new families, again, we provide you the first polo shirt for free. You just contact the school and we'll get that for you for free. Returning families and all families, if you need an extra one, they're $10. Or wait, $12.
And if a parent is a walker to pick up or drop off, is there any information they have for what they should do for walking?
So walkers will be dismissed with our car riders. So we're asking that you stand outside of the gate. So families, please, 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 please just respect, again, the social distancing. I know a lot of you used to walk up to the cafe door to get your child. We're not doing that. You stay behind the fence and we will make sure your child is walking out and they'll walk towards you. So if you are picking up your child, you're walking to come and get them. If you would stay outside of the fence and we will ask you their name and we'll go get them for you.
Okay, there is a question in the chat. Let's see here. So one of the questions is, will Harper shirts be available for purchase?
Yes, Harper logo shirts are available for purchase and Harper t-shirts are available for purchase as well. Please call the school first before coming up, just so we can double check and make sure we have the size. I'm going to be very honest, because of all that's been happening, we haven't had full access to our budgets. So I haven't been able to buy I buy a new batch of shirts every year. I haven't been able to do that this year, but we had extras left over. So if you would like a Harper shirt, yes, we have collared shirts and we have t-shirts.
Are the t-shirts the same as house shirts?
The house team shirts?
Yeah. Is that the
Yes.
same thing when you say t-shirts? That's what somebody asked.
Yes, so the shirts that they wear on Wednesday for house team days, that's the t-shirt. We have a Harper PE shirt, they can wear that. We have a Harper Wild About Learning shirt, they can wear that. We have a Harper Panthers with a paw print in the middle, they can wear that. So for our new families, and that's good for me to even think about that, what we'll do is we'll take a picture of our different shirt options and then we'll post that for you. So you can see what we have available. So if you want one or all, then you'll know what the choices are.
Okay, we have a parent who came in late. She's in group A. She wants clarification on who's teaching her child as group A and who will then teach on Thursday, Friday.
At this time, I can't tell you who will be teaching your child in group A. So what it's gonna look like is, if Miss Silva is a group A teacher, they'll be teaching your child on Monday, Tuesday in the building. And then Miss Silva will more than likely be teaching them virtually on Thursday, Friday. So and I'm gonna be very honest.
Hypothetical.
I'm going to be very, this is all of it still a little confusing. That's why I did this, to explain it the best I can. So Monday and Tuesday, they'll have their teacher teach them in the building. And when they're at home on Thursday, Friday, they'll be learning virtually on the computer like they're doing right now with their teacher. My goal as a principal is to keep the schedule as consistent as possible. So if your child has Miss Silva on Monday, Tuesday, they also have Miss Silva on Thursday, Friday. But I've always been very honest with my families. I cannot guarantee that. My goal this weekend is to work on that, and I will do my best to have it where whoever they have on Monday, Tuesday, they also have virtually on Thursday, Friday.
Dr. Mel, I'm only seeing one more question here. And a parent is asking if it's possible to get pants from last year's Disney play because they were dress code. Do we happen to know if we have any of those still?
Disney pants?
That's what I'm seeing. So from the play that they did last year, I'm not sure if the pants that they had were dress code and if we still have those.
So if I'm a little confused on that one. If you're saying that maybe they left something that was a part of their costume, like anything that the kids left in the building last year is still there. So if it was a part of their costume, they can pick it up. If it was a part of the uniform, I'm not exactly sure how, with the connection to the Disney play. That one I'm not exactly sure on.
And I believe that is, again, all that we are seeing in the chat at this time.
Oh, it clarified.
Oh,
It was
there we
part
go.
of the costume.
Okay, then yes, that should still be in the building. Again, we were literally ripped out of the building on March 13th. So those should still all be in Mr. Chase's classroom, the studio. And then we'll have, Mr. Chase has also not been back since March 13th. He's come in here and there, but he also has not gone through his room. So we'll have to go through all the things that were left in that room. And then we'll look for the, any extra costume, anything from Lion King from last year. Also, if your child left any materials in the building last year, we were very nice and we did not throw them away. They are still there. And they've been there for about a year now. So if your child left any belongings, they are still there. And our goal is to deliver those back to classroom so scholars can pick it up. I will be very honest. I have
They are
been holding.
bagged and labeled, and you may
They're
not want
bagged and
some of it.
labeled. Yes, we had a very organized system. I'll be very honest. We will be keeping those for about 2 more weeks. After the second week of being back in the building, we will be tossing them because they have been there since March 13th. So if you
But
left like a shirt or a notebook or a binder or a pencil pouch, we
gold
have
shoe,
those. Shoes, some their shoes, they're we kept them all. They're bagged nicely and organized and separated with your child's name on it. We'll be returning those, and after a couple of weeks, we will look through and toss what we need to get rid of.
Dr. Mel, there is one more great question that's just come through. Is there going to be a supply list for the remainder of the year? And is there anything specifically needed for the grade levels as they prepare to return?
Great question. So from my understanding, CEO Eric Gordon wants schools to create a supply list and provide those to families. So if that continues to be the guidance, we'll have our teachers just post what they had the scholars collect last year. I do want you to also understand that myself and the team, we are very understanding that it is now about to be March, and things that you would typically get on sale at the beginning of the year, they're no longer on sale, and we do not want to add any extra stress to families. So that is not our goal. So when we post these supply lists, get what you can. But as a school, we will be doing our best to provide supplies for scholars as well. That does not mean, oh, I don't have to buy anything. But what it means is I do understand. And I don't want you to feel any stress and feeling you have to go out and buy notebooks or paper or pencils or crayons. We will be doing our best to supply those for scholars. And also keep in mind, scholars can no longer share. So if you can get your child a pencil pouch or a box or whatever you call them, they're going to have to keep all of their things to themselves. They can't borrow a pencil from their friend. They can't share their crayons. Everybody has to have their individual supplies. So we are working as a school to make sure we take care of that for our families. So that's one less burden you have, but we will be posting those if that is what the CEO wants us to do next week. And it shouldn't be anything out of the ordinary outside of like paper, pencil, crayons, markers, nothing crazy. They already have their device. We've already provided hotspots. So it wouldn't be anything out that I would deem too expensive. But again, we still want to help. So we're going to be working on getting supplies for our scholars also.
I don't see any more questions, Dr. Mono.
Thank you so much, Ms. Silva. Thank you, Ms. Hanlon. Thank you, Ms. Yannick, for all your help with manning the chat and answering the questions and letting me know what our families had questions about. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And most importantly, and truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being a part of Team Harper. It has been a crazy year. I don't think anyone thought that almost 365 days later, we would still be here. But we are, and you are still here with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you to the team members who are on this call with me for supporting. Again, there will be another part. There will be a part 2 of this as I get more information. But please keep up with our social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We use Class Dojo. I'll be posting things on Schoology. We're using IVRs, which is the phone calls, text messages, or emails. And we do a great job. And by we, I mean Ms. Hanlon and Ms. Greg Scott. They do a phenomenal job of keeping our website up to date. So please check our website at least once a day because we're putting a lot of updates there for families. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We will, I do not doubt for a second that we will get through this together. My goal is to let our families know that we are here for you, to release as much anxiety as we can, and to know that we will be stronger after all of this. So thank you all so much. I do appreciate it. And I wish you all a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend.